Alright, sorry about that. We're back. We're back. We got all of our stuff quit and... Okay, now we're ready to go. Ready to rock and roll. Okay, today we're working on a 2D physics game that we have given ourselves 2 weeks. 2 weeks to accomplish. All of the code has been written on stream. And let's fire up the simulator. The simulator. So all the code has been written on stream. We've done everything in 2 weeks. We've done everything so far in a week and a half. We've got till Sunday is our last day. And we're getting surprisingly close. Here's what we've got. We've got our boxes. You can pull new items from the sidebar and snap them onto the machine. Different pieces do different things. And balloons. Let's pull the balloon out. There we go. And a wheel. Let's put some wheels on this thing. Oh yeah, it looks so good. Look at that. Look at this little machine. I would drive this to work every day. For sure. And then you hit the go button and you get to see what happens. Pretty great. So this is pretty much all it is. It's just a little contraption builder. And you can drag in new stuff and it just works and stuff happens. We're going to do a couple things today. The first one should be easy. The first one, you pull a balloon out and you pull a stick out and you can attach the stick to the bottom of the balloon. That's correct, because you want to be able to tie it off at the bottom of the balloon. The other interesting thing is you can actually, because we model a balloon as 2 points, as the point in the center of the circle and a point at the tie, that you can actually attach things to the middle of the balloon, which does not make sense at all. So let's fix that. That should be pretty quick. And then we'll move on to the next thing. Let's go to, where do we want that to happen? We want that to happen in points. Have a boolean for if it's immovable. We want another one for if it's attachable. And that way we can have points that we can attach to in code, but that the user cannot attach to and cannot drag stuff into. So the balloon, let's look at the balloon. The balloon is modeled with really a stick that goes from the center to the tail. So its model is just a line, really a line between these two things. The center point has negative gravity, and this point right here has a very small amount of positive gravity, so it always orients this way, which is good. But we want to make that center point so that when the user's dragging stuff around, they cannot attach to it. So now we have attachable, so now we have balloon. The center, we say attachable. It's not attachable. Nope. Now we also need to, there's a replace point method. This happens usually only during attaching, but just in case, we're gonna update here as well. That way, if the user could never cause this to be called, but our code elsewhere might cause this to be called. I don't know if that makes sense, but if we decided we want to replace the center of a balloon, we should still respect a new attachable point. Wonderful. Here. Yep, that's okay. It's okay. Okay, great. So now we need to respect this new attachable property. Actually, since it defaults to no, that's a problem. There we go. Solved. Solved a problem. Okay, so let's go here to our physics view. When they move something around and they want to and they want to attach it to something. And then they end that gesture. They have the point to replace. So if point to replace and attachable, is that right? So, and maybe we make grabbed point. This will be interesting. We need to make sure that when we grab the balloon that we're not able to grab the center point singularly, but that grabbing the single point singularly lets us grab the stick itself, right? So if the point to snap is attachable, right? So both things need to be to allow attachment, to allow to be attached together. And if we can do that, then we can replace. Great. So this is the part I want to check on now, is if when we grab a point, or if we grab the stick. So I think we have some logs that we can get rid of. There we go. So now we got, it'll log either if it gets a stick or if it gets a point. Right? There's our balloon. If I reach the center, it's going to say got a point. If I get the edge of the balloon, it's going to say what? It's going to say it got a stick. Did not get a stick. Get stick near. Yeah, so our balloon is not, that time we got a different point. If we go in the middle, we got a different point. So balloons right now we can only grab by grabbing the points. So we want to change that. We want it so we can grab the balloon object, and really that stick in the middle is what we want to grab. So let's go to, for that I think we should make, if a point is not attachable, then maybe it should not be grabbable either. Does that feel right? Get stick near a point. So that's one issue, is we only look at sticks, we don't look at balloons. There we go. So let's get that. And yeah, I think we also want, if it's less than, yeah, so if the object is less than object 2 and object is attachable, right? So that way non-attachable items will get pushed to the edge, and red.attachable, right? So now if out of our list of points, some of them will not be attachable, some of them will, this will sort them so that the closest points are first and the furthest away points are last, and also so that non-attachable items are going to be last as well. Or if it's attachable, then it's first, right? So if it's close and attachable, it moves towards the front. If it's far away or not attachable, then it moves toward the back. If we're less than 30 points and it's attachable, attachable means that it was the first point in the list, which means we only have, this checks, if we only have non-attachable points, then it might actually be closer and we still don't want to return it. Does that make sense? I don't know if that made sense, but it tried to. Okay, so balloon. Balloon. If balloon. There we go. Oh, and here we have a problem because the balloon is not a stick and we want to get stick near. So we're going to fix that real quick too, because balloons, since they're modeled as a stick, they should really extend stick, or they should extend some sort of a parent class together. Okay, so balloon is balloons sorted by, I believe we have a distance from point method on a balloon, do we not? Yes, we do. And I think that uses center distance from point, which is correct. So now here, if the balloon is less than the balloon's radius, then that's what we return. Great. Balloon dot. We could actually just return the balloon dot stick, right? Because we model it here. So if we synthesize stick and we add a read-only property for the stick, there we go. So now in our, oops, what's here? Import. Here we go. So now our physics view, instead of returning the balloon, we can return the balloon stick, and we don't have to refactor, which is great. Don't care about that. We don't care about that. That was debug code from yesterday. Here we go. Okay, so now we should be able to grab a balloon within its radius and not its center point. That's the goal, right? So here's our balloon. Say, yep, we got a stick, which is good. We got a stick, we got a stick. Yeah. Now it's null there. That's interesting. I can't grab its bottom left-hand corner. Could be. That time I could. Oh, that's because it was grabbing that bottom point. This is similar to the bug we hit yesterday, where sometimes it fails and sometimes it's okay. On a balloon. So let's check that out. This guy we don't care about, but this guy we do. Right, where it definitely fails. That should never happen, because I'm always clicking inside of the balloon. That failure, and figure out what is going on. Here we go. Okay, so the point we play, the balloon has a center at, you know what, I would love to be able to print these out a little bit. Balloon. Oops, come on now. Oh, X and Y. And by balloon, I mean point. Cool. That way next breakpoint will actually get, we can actually just print out the center. 99 and 283. We have 379 and 329. So our radius is 40. Okay. Let's see where we're going wrong. dx and dy. What was that? surprising. Let's go here and just do that. Right? Sound right? Sounds legit. Where'd you go, assimilator? Here we go. Great. Did I already fail? Yeah, I did. Okay, so here we go. Here we go. I definitely clicked inside of the balloon. So point is at 464 and 451. The balloon center is at 494 and 411. That is a surprising distance away, isn't it? That's 50 in one direction and 40 in another direction. 345, that's about 50 pixels away if I'm mathing well. Distance is 50. Yeah, okay. How would that happen when I start inside of the balloon? Distance is 45. Go back to physics view. Our balloon at the circle, at the center of the circle, within its radius. How about that? So this guy, balloon, so now we should have a green circle around where we're allowed to draw. Yes, we do. So clicking inside anywhere in the green circle should always work. So now we want, yeah, we did click in the green circle and it still was angry. So now we want here, last point we try to drag from. We're just going to add us a little debug. Oops, a little debug point up here. And then if this guy in our render method, where did that guy go? Here we go. Not 0, then we want to render it. Dot. Path with arc center is the last point we tried. Our radius is going to be straight angle, end angle, times 2, clockwise, sure. Our dot, we're going to, what color do we, purple. Right? Okay. But it's waiting for the drag. So this is a problem of that gesture. This grab point is a pan gesture, and the pan gesture needs to slide around a little bit before it recognizes. So we have an instant pan gesture, but it looks like we're not enforcing that anywhere. Move point gesture. Yeah, so you use location and view. This should be instant pan gesture, which has a property for initial location in window. Pan gesture dot initial location in window. That was probably our only problem. There we go. So I can grab anywhere in the balloon and it just moves it around without adjusting its rotation dot itself, and then I can drag it, which is pretty great. Yeah, I think we're good. I think that's what it needed. We just weren't carrying it. That's not a useful log. Okay, great. Definitely fails. Thank you very much. Let's get up and kill our we don't need anymore. We don't need our debugging dot, and we don't need the ugly green border on our balloon. We can get rid of that too. Right? I think we're doing pretty good. Awesome. What do we call it? Spare. There we go. Awesome. That's up. Okay, cool. So now balloons are working a little bit better. What else do we have on our to-do list? I have the to-do list up on the website. Feature list. This is what we're aiming towards. Today we can do save and load and maybe the background scene and maybe edit attributes. That would be really fun. This is kind of a stretch goal, possibly, because we don't necessarily have to have this to ship. Sounds would also be really cool, but I haven't shopped for any sounds yet. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow, depending on how far we get here. So let's do a background scene image, because that stuff we can just get finished. So where are those? Our assets, our purchased assets we bought from deposit photos, right? And we want backyard. I wonder how many credits I have. Does it tell me? I don't know. I don't think it tells me. Okay, we want a background, but we want illustration. There we go. See, this is perfect. How expensive is it? We can get this one, and then I think we should shop for. We can shop for other ones later, but I want to get something in there. That would not quite stretch for 4 credits. Oh, I have 20 credits. We're rich. We're so rich. We have $1 million fake dollars on a photo download website. We can do whatever we want. Whatever we want. Download the file. There it goes. Great. So now we have our file, which is great. There's our background. That's our background for today. Let's do this. We'll call this group texture. Put that guy in there. So we also want one more texture. Backyard. The other texture we want to buy. And there's just, yeah, we want an illustration, please. Here. Would go over okay. Let's pull up our assimilator. There we go. That is, wow, that's an old version. My goodness, look, we can drag stuff. We could have arbitrary lengths for things. Yay. But that's not what we want. We want this guy. And this guy. It's not the best color to go with our kind of like brown orangey background, but maybe that's okay. I really don't know. Is that one a little bit different? That one's a little darker. Maybe that one's better, right? The other problem is it does not. Can we search for tiled assets? Is that a thing? we go. That one might not tile either, but that's a pretty small, 395 pixels across. Let's get the little bit bigger one. Now we have all the textures we want. Yeah, YouTube's still doing okay. Great. Okay, so our texture, let's get our other texture. Let's put it in our save and into here. Yep. Wood texture. Great. Our background. What our physics view currently does to render the sidebar is it actually renders the sidebar every single time. I don't want to do that, and I don't actually care about this little curved piece. Maybe we'll care about that curved piece later. But for now, let's fix that so it doesn't have to render the sidebar every single time. So we want to put the sidebar, as we drag things around, it goes underneath those buttons. That's okay. We want them over it, so we want the sidebar underneath our physics view. So here we can have our sidebar like that. I already have a sidebar background, so why don't we just save that up here. There we go. And yeah, and then our sidebar background class, it's curve, and we can also have it define pattern image. Oops, image named wood dash texture. Is that what we called it? So self.background. Our shape layer, we do not want a fill color. We only want a sidebar side color. We want it to be half black, I think. Let's just see what that looks like, if that does even remotely what I think it's going to do. It does not. Wonderful. Let's try that. Let's try using the correct file name. Hey, look at that. Now we have a nice texture in our sidebar. A nice texture, but that's okay. It's something. It's something. So that means our sidebar is 150 pixels. We need our sidebar to be wider than that. So we want our sidebar width. Let's put that in here. $320. Oops. Come here. 2. Thank you. Really? So our radius. Point with center. This guy needs to be that divided by 2. Oh, wait a second. I see. Yeah, so it put its center Y there. So where do we push it? Yeah, this is where we push it over. So it pushes it a radius over plus our sidebar width. Am I doing that completely wrong? I just need radius? Is that all I needed? Yeah. Okay, cool. So now we need to mask that view. And we can mask it with there we go. Background color, white. Path is the curve. Oops, no. Background color is clear. Fill color is white. Stroke color is also white. And then self.layer.mask is equal to mask. Awesome. Little size, a little powerful at this point, a little overbearing. Like this guy just blends straight in. He just looks a mess. I'm a programmer. I'm not an artist. Open. Okay, great. So now let's wash it out. Can we do it with contrast? Yeah, that's makes it darker. We want to wash it out, not the other way. I don't know what that does. That's fine. Let's do that, and then let's add vibrance. Is that a thing? Maybe pull some of the saturation out. I'm guessing. Let's do that. That compared to that, right? So this is a processed asset now, and let's save it as texture. Great. Named it the wrong thing. So wood texture.png. Okay, so now instead of the JPEG, we have one of those. Let's see if that looks any better. It's a little bit altogether, in all honesty. We might want to use something entirely different. Oh, you know what I know what we should do. I know exactly what we should do. I need to go get the code for it. We should use the iOS 8 blur effect. That's what we should do. Should use one of those. Oh, this guy, you don't get a. Instead, you get that means our backyard here image view, backyard, there we go. Content mode, UI view, content mode, aspect, scale, aspect, fill. Yep. Is the UI image named, I think, backyard.jpg, right? And we should probably add it to our. So amazing. Oh, look at that. Look at how beautiful our, with our thing and our sidebar that didn't blur at all. Why didn't our sidebar blur? We've got a white background somewhere that we don't want. We've got we are not opaque. Oh, come on now. I don't know why it doesn't autocomplete UI color sometimes. It is super frustrating. Okay. Radius, our background has a background color of clear. That's fine. Our mask has a white background, but that's to turn its mask on. Its background is that. And then we have our, so we should be good to go. I might have just needed to set these defaults up here. Nope. Mask off. What if I turn background off? Nope. Maybe I'm just putting it and we just couldn't see it. That might be the issue. That is a surprising amount of blur. Yeah, I think you can see it through there, right? It's just and it's not blurred at all. It's not even a little bit blurred. Maybe it's because our sidebar back is a sibling to our backyard. That might be it. So now it's a subview of our backyard. Does that do what we want? I don't feel like that does what we want either. That doesn't do what we want either. So here we insert it right after our background. It doesn't blur the background. Backyard insert. If I blur as a subview of the background, what am I doing wrong? Do you guys know? If you know what I'm doing wrong for the visual effect view, give me my code. Got a visual effect view. It may affect content layered behind the view or content added to an existing view, and then apply a blur effect or vibrancy effect. So maybe we content view. We add the backyard as a content view. I really want to do this because the blur is going to look so much better. It's going to look so much better than. But it's just not doing anything. Why am I having such a bad time? Yeah, visual effect property. Yeah, let's just add view and then background. We'd put a blur effect right above our background. Then it should blur our background, but it doesn't. It just puts a mostly opaque white cloud over it. That's super annoying. Does the simulator have a bad time with it? So this guy makes an image view, he adds an image view, and then he adds his effect view. Yeah, that's what I want on the top. And I feel like I'm getting this on the simulators. Yeah. Okay, so it looks like it's fine. It's just the it's a simulator issue. So let's and we're gonna make it look nice on an iPad, because that right there, it's not quite the ugliest thing I've ever seen. It's getting pretty close. Let's all be honest. Coffee up there. Okay. Time. So we can see our screen. And then let's run. Like night and day. It looks so much better. We're doing it right all along. Just the simulator is pilot. Okay. So let's get back to let's get back to business. Let's get back here. Blur effect. There we go. Let's turn our sidebar on. Now, what do we look like? Oh, see, that's much better. Extra light, much. Oh, see, that looks sort of nice, right? What if we be in between light and extra light, right? Doesn't that feel true? So what if we do white color, color with alpha 0.25? Just a little inside of that blur. No, that's not what we want, everybody. So let's do the blur to 0. So instead of setting the background color of our color white, color with alpha 0.25. So our subview, bits of white at subview 0, and then the blur is going to be right above that. Let's see if that does what we want. No, it doesn't. What if we do content view, add subview, bits of white? Can it blur its content view as well? Okay, that's fine. What have I done? Why is it not working anymore? It's not working at all. It was working like moments ago. Okay, let's go here. Index 0, because I had it at index 1 in the issue. There we go. It's better. I can't tell if that white is actually doing anything, that extra bit of white that we're adding. Yeah, I can't interact here. I have to interact on the iPad. Yay. Awesome. Moderately okay little texture thing for our derpy little game. I keep forgetting that I can't there we go. Now we have a wheel. That's great. Pause. Is our engine broken? So if I move it around, it snaps into itself. Yeah, so it is broken. Okay, so our engine is broken. Its engine head is attaching to itself. But first, background. Awesome. So the code is in the description if you want to look at the code. Stream. So you can go back and look at anything we built. But there it is, right there, that GitHub repository. Our engine, we can kill the images directory. Stick objects, engine. So the issue that we're running into is it's going. The endpoint and the endpoint. This endpoint is super close to the engine bit right in the middle that slides back and forth. And so then if I move up, it looks for points inside of that engine to snap that. Sure enough, this point inside of the engine can snap to something. It can snap to the endpoint. And so then that endpoint snaps, and then it there you can see it adjusted a little bit. It just snapped to itself. So if I turn immovable on, just so we can see, it broke because it freaked out from stress. So let's go to the physics view. When we move a point to replace, right? So we want to make sure that when we're asking all of our sticks and all of our balloons and all of our stuff, all of our sticks to replace point with point, we want to ask it, right? I really don't know why I'm doing that. I'm replacing the object that we don't need to do that. So actually we can just do in replace point for the engine. We can only replace the points if self all points contains object and self all points contains the new one. So if it contains both of them, then skip replacing. We would be replacing points within replace. Remind me in an hour. I'll call you back later. Okay, so let's try that now. What's the matter? It looked like it snapped, which is good. Yeah, no, it's still good. Right? Oops, screen down. Oh, so cute. That's my wife. Why on earth is it floating? Why is it floating? Floating a few moments ago. Was it? Was it floating a few moments ago? I have no idea what we did. I don't get it. So we fixed the engine attack, but let's look back a little bit. The engines float back here. It does not. It does not even remotely float. So if we just did this one. I don't suspect that we did anything there in this commit that made them float. So that means our point replacement is not go here. So you don't float. Yep. Screw something up in that last commit. Right? And it was that. Was it that? That doesn't make any sense to me. We get a stick, we pull it out of our sticks array, we replace any points that we have with it, and then we just replace the object. That's not going to change anything. That's just, was it? I'm like 90% confident that was not it. What? And now it falls? And now it doesn't fall? Here we go. Wait a second. No, so it's doing, so it's not this, because sorry, I had it up. So it's not that line that we took out. This line does actually, right? But the issue is that even though the engine does not replace the points, we're still acting like it does, because we do points remove object, point to replace, right? So what we want is replace point with point is a Boolean, right? And that is going to tell us if it did give me back my code. Because here, if we did replace, great. And if we replaced every single time, great. Then we can remove it from the points array. If we did not replace every single time, we should not remove it from the points array. And so the reason it was floating is because we were not replacing correctly on the engine points array gravity. So it was suddenly 0 gravity, which made the engine half float. And you saw it kind of slowly descended, but very slow. It was not getting updated by the points. It's not good. Here we can return yes. We will just blindly replace in a wheel. And then in the engine, we'll return no. Otherwise, we'll right. So bool all points equals yes. Oops. Then we do if did replace all points. There we go. And we're just going to assume that balloons always replace points, which is fine for now. Now we should not get floating engines. Let's find out. Let's start and restart, stop and restart. So here's our engine. We're gonna hit play. We're gonna hit play. There we go. There we go. Yeah, it's always falling. Even when I'm dropping it right when it's close to a point, so it's asking to replace right there. Still dropping just fine. So we fixed gravity. We fixed gravity. Fixed gravity for engines. Great. Okie doke. So we want to do the next thing. Let's pull up our to-do list again. Move the background scene image. We did that. I think we need to save and load contraptions. Right? It feels like a good thing to do. Feels like a good thing to do. I'm honestly not looking for surprising amount. It's not a big deal. Then you got to do like a file picker, and I want to load this guy and not this guy. So let's make a simple manager. We're going to call this a save load manager. Creatively enough. We're going to save load shared instance. We're going to make this a singleton. Oh, this is our implementation. Init if self equals. Let's go ahead and make it because we are going to need properties eventually. Our shared instance is our static save load manager instance. And here we have dispatch once. There we go. There's our singleton. And we need to make sure nobody else uses it. Except then even we can't use it. There we go. Save load manager. Really? I don't know what you put there. What do you put there? Come on. 8. Oh. Is that what we do? Init is unavailable. There we go. It's a hack. But that's good because that way nobody here can ever initialize it. They can only talk to us through our singleton. Right, which is what we want. Great. So now we need to what do we need to do? To save and load state, it's this stuff, right? This stuff is UI. These are gestures. This is our on-off current edit stick. That's basically a gesture. Property views, we don't need any of that. Process, we don't need any of that. Default objects, we don't need any of that. So it's just this stuff. That's the only stuff we need to save and load. This stuff is also pretty well constant. right? So to save and load, we need a save points and sticks. Oops, array sticks and balloons. For name. All right, does that feel pretty good? So now we need, let's get our documents directory, which I never remember how to get. So we're gonna go look it up. Documents path is this code here. Let's actually just make a little documents path. There we go. There we go. So we search for the documents directory for the user and we return it. Great. So now we're going to info to save is going to be points, sticks, balloons, right? And then I think we want, is it NS key to archiver? Archive root object, info to save to file. And the file is our path to save to. Is our documents string by pinning path component name path extension .fizz, right? Not parts, because it's spare parts app. There we go. Right? Does that feel good? So that's how we're going to save. Now we're going to load. Let's just make sure we can save the way we think we can save. So in our physics view, we need some more. Do we need some more buttons in our sidebar? There's our play pause button, which we're going to rename. Because that just seems like it would be a better name. And what else? Should we just add like a save load button like right underneath and just mash this full of buttons? That's fine. Why not? So we'll put it next to the play pause button, and our trash button will move over a little bit. All right, so this guy's going to go this way, this guy's going to go this way, and we'll put save load right in the middle, I guess. Because what else are we going to do? Button with type. that one? No. Standard system button. I think that's right. And then we can use button type. My mind's completely blanking out on how to use system icons for UI buttons. Oh, can you only do it for bar buttons? Yeah. Yeah, I guess you can. Yeah, and you can do that. That's kind of ugly, to be perfectly honest. But maybe that's... any system bar icon. That sucks. You know what? We're going to do this the easy way. UI, button type. Save button. Save button. Set title. Save objects. Great. That does not exist yet, so let's go down here and we'll add it. Mark, save, and load. Right. So let's just make sure that shows a button where we think it's going to show it. And it does. And it looks as beautiful as we'd ever wanted it to look. So let's go to... I think I do want to put it below. I want to put it below the play pause button. So we'll put it down here, and the save button will be -180 as well. Let's just move it down there. I think that'll actually be a little bit better, because otherwise it's going to get pretty crammed in there. Save. That's pretty good. There we go. No, Siri, I don't want to talk to you. Okay, good. So now we can hit our save button and nothing happens, which is fine. Now let's make a load button. There we go, and this is going to be load objects. Fantastic. Okay. So now we can do all of our magic down here, and that's what we want to do. Okay. So our save objects is just going to UI alert view. Wait, do we have, how do we make an alert view with an alert style? We should use alert controller. Okay, thank you. That's what I wanted to know. UI alert controller. Ooh. Yes, I do want coffee. My wife's offering me coffee. Yep. Sweet. That's even better. Okay. UI alert controller. Why are you auto-completing like that? Alert controller with title. Save. What? Name your contraption, right? UI alert controller. Controller style should be an alert, not an action sheet. But that's not right. Gosh, come on. How do I set it so that it gives me a text box? That's what I want. I want a text box. I want an alert pop up with a text box. UI alert controller text input. Yeah, this is what I want. I want this thing right here. Is it that thing? Yeah. Add text field? Is that really a thing? I could have sworn I did this entirely different way, like a dramatically different way, like 2 days ago. Add text field. What? Really? Okay. So what does that do? Man, this is like a brand new world. I had no idea. Oh, I put save load right on top of each other. Great job. There we go. There we go. Keep our physics list open. What language is this? Oh, I'm sorry if I did not see that. You probably asked that like a billion years ago. It's Objective-C. Objective-C. Denver Cowboy, just saw yours too. Sorry if you asked that a million years ago. He's asking on live coding if I'm streaming from Starbucks, because I've done that twice now. No, I'm not. I'm streaming from home. And when I plan to release the game. So we're on day 10 or 11, something like that. Day 10 or... Oh, I didn't even present the controller because I'm a dummy. Present. Present view controller. And do I have to be in the view controller to present another view controller? I can't just say, hey buddy, make it happen. We're submitting on Sunday is the answer. Sunday. We're on day 10 or 11 of 2 weeks of our 2-week app experiment, app video game making experiment. So our physics view is really going to have to talk back to our controller, it sounds like, which is fine. I didn't want to do that, but we're going to do it. And we're going to do it the easy way by giving this guy a weak property to our controller, right? Yeah, it's there we go. Present View controller, alert. Yep, animated. And our completion. We don't need a completion actually, because we don't care. Yeah, we've gotten a lot done in 2 weeks. I'm actually really proud of what we've gotten accomplished in just these like 10 or 11 days. It's kind of a lot. It's a lot. We've done a lot in 10 or 11 days. And once we get save load, if we can knock that out, then technically it'll be shippable, you know, like it'll function. You can turn stuff on and off. You can save it, which we're not saving anything right now because our controller, when it gets the physics view, it doesn't set itself as the thing. But yeah, once we can save, then we can do all kinds of stuff. Then it'll be done, and then we'll just be making it better, really. Name your contraption, and look, no buttons, Ma. Okay, let's figure out how to add buttons. This alert view stuff, man, I tell you what. Man, the whole world has changed. I built an alert controller a couple days ago, and the world is a different place. It is an absolutely different place. Save action. Great. We don't care about localizing. Not right now. You are not destructive. You are a default. Save action here. And we also want to maybe dismiss view controller. I don't actually know if we need to dismiss. Save action. Great. Okay. Alert, add action. There we go. And then we need a cancel action. Does anybody remember if the cancel goes first or second? Maybe it handles it for us magically and sorts things the right way. I don't know. Let's find out. Here we go. We hit save. Name your contraption. Foobar. And it saves. That's great. Good job, us. Okay, so now how do we get the text out of the field? Wait, I'm sorry, what is that? Are you serious? You're like setting it up with these notifications and stuff? What a mess. That's a terrible way to do things. That's terrible. We're not going to do that. And by we're not going to do that, I think we might have to, because if they... Because we don't want to let them hit save until they've typed something, you know? So I think we do need to set ourselves as the delegate. Man, this is so awkward. This is super awkward. This is the worst way to do something like this. This is just so awkward. Have I said that enough? Have I said that it's awkward? Super awkward. Super awkward. Interface, and then physics view. For text field delegate, I'm going to put that down here. Man, this is the worst. Is it that guy? This guy did a notification center thing. UI text field did change. Yeah, this is super ugly, but it's honestly better than setting a delegate. Because the delegate's a mess. I don't want to do the delegate. Such extra code and extra stuff to hang on to. So if we go here, now we get that, right? UI text field. Right? And so then he can we add, what kind of actions can we add? Yeah, so here we need to remove ourselves as an observer, and we need to do the same thing on a cancel, right? Yeah. Yep. And so then our yeah, he looks for the alert controller. Yeah, I want to do that. Let's just keep our save action. We're just going to hang on to him. Right? And we'll remove him when we hit the OK button. And then here, if field.text length is greater than 1, then we're enabled. Right? Really, if we have a length at all, then we can enable it. And it just feels so dirty to make a view like this. It just feels so awkward. So now we cannot save until we type, and then that's when we get our exception, which is good. Oh, because you're NS notification. Yep. NS notification. Object. This guy should be the text field. Because the text field is the guy sending the notification. Come here. There we go. Nope, apparently not. Oh, yeah, because need to get the text out of the text field. Right, Adam? That's a great idea. Gosh, man. There we go. So we type. It enables one character. It enables one. It doesn't. If we want to save it as M, then we save it as M. Great. So now we need our. We have our alert. Dot text fields, first object dot text. That is our name, right? So we're saving to name, and now we can also get our save load manager. And our save load manager. Come on now, shared instance, save. I did not put those in the, there we go, in the public area over here. Save points, sticks, balloons for name. Great. Ta-da! I think now we're saved, right? Feels good. Hit save. We want to save it as M, and it freaks out because probably nothing is in code with Coder. We didn't actually implement the NS coding protocol. So let's do that for our stuff. Point. We go to NS coding. Right. Code with Coder, and we also need a init with Coder, don't we? Am I crazy? What's the NS coding? Yeah, init with Coder. Yeah, thank you. I'm not crazy. Okay. I just didn't want to autocomplete it. There we go. Init. Right, and then, excuse me. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so we can say a coder encode object. We want to encode object. What are the different things that we want to care about? We want to care about all of those. Ooh, our gravity modifier. How do you encode a block? I don't know if we can. We won't need to, because the gravity modifier is going to be the job of the balloon, because the balloon is the guy who sets the gravity modifier. So when he decodes his center point, he will just reset the gravity modifier there. That's fine. So let's go here. Let's get all of those guys. These are the things that we need to remember to encode. Number with float for key x, y old x old y, old x and old y, and old y. Great. And then the immovable and attachable number with bool. Yeah. Okay. Great. I remembered that correctly. Attachable. Great. Okay, so now I think we just saved points. So now let's decode points. So x is going to equal decoder, decode object for key, x, float value. Thank you very much. XY, old x, and old y. Great. Old x and old y. And then movable and oops, and attachable. We're going to decode those as well. That will be a bool value. Great. Right. So now we can save points. So now when we save, it should get angry at us for something else. It should get mad at us for hopefully sticks or something like that being saved. Save. Now you're angry about, yeah, sticks. Great. So that means we saved our points array correctly, which is a very happy place to be. So now we can save, we don't need that. Our NS coding protocol for, let's just go down the list. Oops. We want NS coding. Oh, I had it in my clipboard. Great. Great job. Very good job. Okay, now we have code with coder, and we have ID and init with coder. Great. Code object, and sticks have what? P0 and P1. That's all we have, because length is calculated. Yep, and stress is calculated. We could save the stick type. I don't care about that right now. P0 for a key, P0, and P1, P1. So now we go point P0 is equal to a decoder decode object for key, P0, right? And P1, right? And then we can do if self is equal to, I don't think we can do super here. We really want self init with P0, P0 and P1. So I believe that will give us sticks. Can now save, right? And since the only thing we have in this very default configuration here is sticks, we should be able to save just fine. And we can. Thank you. So now we can save sticks, but if we add a piston to it and we save that, now we're gonna have a really bad day. No, we had a great day. It's just springs and pistons. Only save P0 and P1. So like an engine, a spring. This is fine. Springiness, we might want to save as well. No, we don't. So springs and pistons we get for free, right? Engines are going to have a bad time because we need to save that. We need to save P2, don't we? Let's do engines. Engines is going to be an interesting one. And engines is interesting because right now the piston and the shaft share a point. Code with coder. Init with coder. So we want to encode the object piston for key piston. And we want to also encode the shaft for the shaft. So engine piston equals a decoder decode object for key piston. And the engine shaft we want to be shaft. So if self is equal to self init p0, which is going to be piston.p0. And shaft.p1. Right? No, this is not how we want to do it. We really want to do P2 for P2. There we go. And we just want to rebuild these. P2, P2. Super init with coder. So this is going to go here. It's going to init with P0 and P1. Right, so an engine gets called here. And now we want to set the P1, piston.P1, to be what we decode here. So we do piston.P1.x is equal to P2.x and y. See what I'm doing here? This just loads it as P1, P0, and it generates the piston in the engine magically, right? And so then when we decode where we wanted to save the P2, like how far along the piston it was, which means we also need to save our angle, number with float angle. What do we call that? Do we change the name of it? Oh, the piston saves that information. It doesn't, but it needs to. Okay. So yeah, our spring does not have any additional properties besides springiness, which is always constant for now. And our piston has an angle that we need to save. So we haven't done that. Pragma mark. I didn't do that right. Void encode with coder. Code object minus number with float for angle. There we go. It's not a void, that's part of the problem. There we go, and so now our angle we can get from the decoder. Decode object for key, angle, float value. There we go, great. Cool. So now our piston is gonna make sure it maintains its current angle, which is encouraging. So our piston, when it initializes, it's gonna initialize P1 and P0, which is going to decode its engine piston, which extends a stick. So our engine piston needs to do the same thing here. So the engine shaft, we don't need to save. We don't need to encode at all. Oh yeah, we decided those get just rebuilt automatically. But because it's an engine piston, its angle is not getting saved at all, and we want it to. So we should save it. Should we save it here? The engine piston, we don't expose that at all. Maybe we could or should. It's a little bit ugly to make it like that. That's what we're gonna do. So our piston.angle, our engine piston has an angle property now, so it should be nice. I don't know why you're angry. Oh, you're angry because this needs to be in its number. Number with float. You win. Okay, so now we also want our piston.angle to be decode object for key, angle, float value. Now our engine saves correctly, and our piston saves correctly, and everything saves correctly. So we should be able to save everything except what? A wheel extends a stick, so you're going to get called. So if you get called with, you want to get called there, right? A wheel and a radius. I think we can save everything except wheels and balloons. A wheel and balloon. A wheel, since it's only made out of sticks, I'm pretty sure this guy, and since it extends sticks, this guy's not going to complain. He won't complain at all, but we don't have enough information to load him correctly. The box will load, the piston, and the engine, and the spring. Those will all load. Those should load correctly. So if I hit save and save it as a file, it does not complain. But it will complain when I put the balloon in, because now we don't save balloons. Angry time. Great. There we go. void encode with coder and init with coder. Okay. So the balloon cares about what? What does it care about? It cares about a radius, it cares about a center point, and a tail point, and then it creates a stick based off of those. So if I save a center and a tail, code object and its number with float radius, code object center, code object tail for our tail, right? Yep, so that's fine. And now here we can do point center, decode object for key center, radius, float value, and then we also need the tail, right? For tail. Okay. Super. Oops. Self init. Okay, that's fine. So self.center.x is equal to center.x. Y and old x and old y. Set our radius, and now we set our tail. Yeah, so the radius is just always static. You know, it's going to be a problem, actually, now that I think about it. Oops. Old x, and old y, and old y. Okay, so these are all correct. And by correct, I mean they have the correct like gravity modifiers and all that kind of stuff. This gives them the correct velocities, that kind of stuff. We don't actually need to save the radius because the radius is always static. So that's fine. The issue that I'm realizing maybe the NS-Keyed archiver handles it, but that we have the points array, which contains a bunch of point objects, and then our sticks array, which contains sticks, which contain points, and those points that the sticks contain are also in the points array, right? So that when we're saving a point in the points array, and we save a stick with those same points in the sticks array, we're saving that same point twice, right? And I don't know if when it decodes, if it decodes a single object, or if it will duplicate and create 1 point for the points array and 1 point for the sticks array. I'm honestly not sure that's archive root object. So if we do nskeyed archiver recursive object. That's not what I want. Object serialization, nscoding recursive. It also supports recursion on members. So I think we might be okay. Oh, he's talking about that. Coding. There's got to be an answer if nscoding supports, if it supports if it supports recursive or not. I used to know the answer to this. Yeah, every object is encoded with an ID, and then every object that's a member of another object is encoded as that ID, not as the way he's saying. So that's good. I guess we'll find out when we implement loading, right? And we can work around it if not. Yeah, that's fine. Let's go to where did my code go? Okay, cool. So we have what we're doing. Balloons. Yeah. So balloon. This guy's going to create center velocity. So balloons are okay. Sticks are okay. Wheels are not going to be okay. I think we're going to do wheels tomorrow. I've already spent almost 2.5 hours on stream today. So I think we'll do wheels tomorrow, but let's confirm that balloons can save, then everything technically saves. Right? So we have a balloon, we have a wheel, we have a spring, we have an engine, we have a piston, we have a stick. If I hit save, then my dialog pops up, please. There it goes. Success, and it's saved. Great. Cool. Okay, so that's half of the battle on saving. Battle on saving. Need to fix saving for wheels, and then implement loading. Great. But that's a pretty good place to stop for today. It's been a kind of a long stream, and that's all I got time for. It's really more than I got time for. But pretty good. Thanks for watching, and check out the website sparepartsapp.com, and check out the GitHub if you want to pull it down. We are on day, I think, 11 of 14. So we've got just a couple more days left. I think we'll be able to knock out save and load tomorrow during tomorrow's stream. And then we can work on maybe attributes to change length and radius of wheels and stuff like that. That would be cool. But anyway, so far so good. Shoot me an email also if you want the beta. I will send out a build. Go ahead and send out a build now, actually, while we're here. There we go. And everything pushed up, right? So here we go. So we're going to send out a build and then call it a day. What did we even do today? I can't even remember, you know? Ridiculous, but we did April 2nd. We did a lot of stuff. Oh yeah, we fixed dragging balloons around. We fixed engines. So we fixed balloons and engines and started save load. Awesome. Cool. Here we go. Let's ship this guy up to the internet so we can push it out to... I think we have 2 beta testers, so if you want this on your iPad, then shoot me an email or get in touch. Anyway, this is going to take a minute, so we're just going to call it because it takes a minute or 2 to upload because why wouldn't it? Don't save any of that stuff. Thanks, guys, for coming out, and I will see you at tomorrow's stream. Bye.